Hey guys, Will King here, High Cotton Homes. Today we're at the local 911 center and we're talking about CPR, first aid, and just job site preparedness for our crews. Wanted to share it with you. I got a good friend with me today, Drew Lindholm. Drew, man, thanks for having us.
What's up, Will? It's a pleasure, man.
So tell me what we're doing today.
So, main reason, right? A lot of guys doing a lot of construction around a lot of dangerous stuff. First aid, self-aid, right? These things are pretty important to individuals, and it's also really important to have the appropriate amount of gear and get training because, you know, as you know and your guys know, you're going to be isolated. Half the time you're going to be in areas where it's going to be delayed response, 15, 20, 30 minutes, right? So matter of life and death can come down to the gear you have available to you on site, on hand, on person, and the training. Can they use those tools appropriately? So we're going to get down on a whole lot of stuff, and we're going to start with some of the most important stuff like bleeding control and hemorrhage. Probably the one thing that I think your guys probably will be exposed to the most and have the tools now available, such as tourniquets, pressure dressings, and then some of the combat gauze and the Z-fold gauze stuff, which will break down the difference in on how they can wound pack. So,
you know, my previous career, I was a paramedic fireman too, and you know, since I started my construction business, I've kind of forgotten about the importance of teaching my guys how to take care of themselves and others. And then I think in more recent times, we've started getting so far outside of in-town building. And it's really got me thinking about, you know, what are they going to do if they're having a hemorrhage and they're 30 minutes away from even 911 or any fire department, any volunteer fire department at that. So talk to me about this stuff. I mean, we've got tourniquets, we've got dummies. Like
100% correct. And again, and I know you know, especially from experience too, first hands that touch you are the most important hands that touch you, okay? So some of the stuff that we've got in here, we've got cat tourniquets, right? So these are the Gen 7, the ones that you've got on hand for your company. They're probably one of 2 or 3 recommended that are the best, good for one-handed application and two-handed application. So this device is probably the number one device that's going to save a life on hand. And then knowing the difference on when and how to do it appropriately.
So bottom line, somebody's got a massive bleed going on. Like this is even a contractor, framer, trim carpenter, you don't have to be a paramedic to use this,
You
right?
do not, and that's the beauty about this stuff. The knowledge is out there, the skills are out there, people can be trained to utilize this and utilize it really well.
There's resources out there to put together kits, right? Do you have any just readily available that you can talk about?
Tons of resources. Probably the one that I'll stand behind the most, North American Rescue is a fantastic company and product. They have a lot of data and publications and a lot of ways for servicing all factors, not necessarily anybody from a tactical background, from law enforcement, but they go into some of that civilian care. They do high-end EMS, local, ready civilian care, and then tradesmen of all spectrum and how they can do it. And what you're doing as a company is even more fantastic. We've got individual kits, mobile, we can grab them and go, take with us, hand it off, replenish and restock. And then we've got harder kits with stuff that people honestly can't find that good differentiation between. You've got stuff to handle major injuries, but also talking about those bangs and boo-boos, stuff that they're going to have a lot on their hands. So full spectrum of everything, including with some of the CPR training to equip guys.
So I think one thing with the CPR too, we're talking about that. So not only are we on the job sites with our employees and our guys, but obviously there's a lot of subcontractors, guys of all ages, guys and girls of all ages. But then also this is going to be a skill that our guys are going to be able to take home with them, with their family, with their loved ones that they're going to be around, even on Sunday at dinner at grandma's. You know, that's such an important thing that I take for granted sometimes. I think just the ability
complacency
to do
catches
CPR.
us all sometimes in it for sure.
So I think one thing we didn't cover is, you know, I guess the different types of injuries or problems that would be common on a job site that we're going to prepare our guys for. So I know burns, right? That's one.
So systemically, I would say hemorrhage control, bleeding, check, covering it. We're doing everything from the tourniquet training to pressure dressings as well as wound packing. So we're going to coverage hemorrhage control in a cascade. More severe down to not such a bad idea. Falls, fractures, splints,
which are going to be all very common.
All common.
Guys
how
on
to
ladders,
deal with it.
Guys on scaffolding.
How to deal with it, how to do the best you can to cause no more harm to the patients other than what's already happened to them. All the way over into this chest pain, medical, CPR related.
What we run into a lot is that you put in a new address, maybe it's a new subdivision, or maybe it's a very remote subdivision.
If it's got one.
If it even, so you put in an address, and even as people know, Google Maps can't take you there. So if you call 911, just give them an address, that may not be enough to give them. So what's the other option for these guys to talk about?
Pre-planning. You'll hear guys from other backgrounds call it blank, blank, blank planning. It's going to be like event planning. It's going to be mission planning, right? It's going to be like environmental response planning, just planning in general. So it's 2022.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna utilize the tools available to us and come back to the century we're currently in and utilize apps and phones. That's what we'll talk about most today. There's a few apps that are free that are good. We want to do stuff like topographical mapping, right? And then gridding, where are we at, right? Most people can actually find you if you can tell them where you are in a manner in which they can understand. Phone talks on roads that don't have addresses and talking to people not from the area, it's just not going to get you so far.
It would not be hard for us to put together just a pre-planned page that has things like maybe it's a grid number, maybe it's a lat and long coordinate, the number to our local air ambulance service, and then also local, explaining on there, I guess each job site specifically, what fire department jurisdiction, police jurisdiction, and just have that posted. That would, I can't believe we haven't thought of that yet, honestly.
Success is going to be in the planning of the company and the individuals available and ready to implement the planning they've been trained on. So, all the pre-work you're going to do before that groundbreaking construction on the site or clearing these lots, all that stuff's going to reflect and shine during the emergency or during the case. It's hard to plan for stuff in the moment. That's just called failure.
Is there any more resources that you know about outside of American Heart?
NAEMT is going to be another nationally accredited corporation. They have many certifications. Some are going to be for licensed personnel, but some are not. They have a course I'd highly recommend. It's called Stop the Bleed, and it's open to anybody that's willing to take it. And it goes over the things that we hammered the most that we will go over, and that's going to be hemorrhage control, right? Literally, it's in the name of the course, Stop the Bleed. Anybody can walk in and can take it.
Well, good deal. Well, Drew, thanks so much, man.
It's a pleasure, man.
Awesome.
I had a great time, man.
Forward to it. And going forward, we're going to have to do some more classes as we hire new employees and continuing training. But all right, well, guys, just remember, iron sharpens iron. So keep grinding, keep watching these videos, and we'll see you again right here on The Build Show.